Hey guys, welcome back. So I'm here with my friend Austin. He's 26 years old, um, and he's going to talk to us about some things today that he has experienced and he's gone through in his life as far as mental illness is concerned. Um, so go ahead, Austin.
Hey, how's everybody doing today? I hope everyone's doing well. I'm Austin, Jeffrey's friend. I'm on the mental illness spectrum, as he already stated. I suffer from depression, anxiety, and I have obsessive compulsive disorder. I'm just, kind of here most days. But I guess we were going to talk. My experience really has been it's been positive in certain aspects, but negative on others, as most mental illnesses are. Like I said, with the depression, it kind of you have ups and downs and such, which you've all seen with him. It's a roller coaster. It really is. It's kind of this roller coaster we call life. But I wouldn't have it any other way, honestly, because with having these mental illnesses that I do, it's kind of opened a whole new perspective of life to me. Not everything's sunshine and rainbows. Sometimes there's some gray and dark pits you go into, but that's all right. That's just, I guess that's the way God intended. So.
Yeah, that's very true. And so, could you kind of go into your OCD?
Yeah. So OCD is, most people know it. It's the long term, the medical term is obsessive compulsive disorder. Mine's mainly ritualistic behavior, so like checking doors, stuff like that. A lot of people, when they think OCD, it's kind of, oh, I gotta wash my hands, and gotta put on my Germ-X, and a thing I've heard a lot going around is, oh, he's so OCD about this, he's so OCD about that, or she, or whatever. And it's kind of hurtful in a way because they don't really think about it as an actual mental illness. They're just thinking, oh, this person's quirky, so they're OCD about that. That's not really how it is. OCD it can cause a lot of different issues, mainly anxiety and depression. But as I stated earlier, my OCD is mainly ritualistic. So, like, let's say I knock on the table. I have to knock on it a certain number of times, or I'll just feel weird. It's like this monster in your head, is what my therapist once told me. She said, you kind of gotta put the monster in its place, and it's hard to do. It really is. So with proper medication, which I take, I'm not a doctor, not claiming to be a doctor, but it helps me. Some people say that meditation helps them, which I've done that, and that helps. There's all kinds of different ways that you can help, but always, always, always see someone that's medically licensed and knows what they're talking about. That's my number one thing is go to someone like that. So
I agree with that. I think that was well put, very well put. And as far as I can relate definitely with like the tapping or clicking and whatnot. I have to click so many times or tap so many times, or I'll walk outside and check for my keys.
Right.
Even after I've locked the door, I will check for my keys again to make sure I have them.
Yeah, and I do the same thing a lot. My father, he's not been diagnosed, but honest to God, I think that he has OCD because before he leaves, he has to check all the doors, check all the lights, make sure everything's off, unplugged, and all this kind of stuff. And
does he like check them multiple times?
Yes, he checks them multiple times. He's just checks multiple times. He has a saying, Santa checks his list twice, so I guess I got to check everything 3 times. It's it's funny, but at the same time, it can be a huge detriment to your health. Because like this, I'm playing with my fingernails. That's a tick, and that causes a lot of ticks. I don't know if you can really see it, but I got some blood. Well, I got some blood coming out of one of these fingers because I've been picking at it so much. But that's part of mental illness and OCD in itself is a lot of the ticks. But the main thing that I want to tell people about OCD is don't don't ever just assume. Just because someone likes to wash their hands or use a lot of salve or whatever, it's Purell or Germ-X for people that don't know. I apologize. But anyways, anyone that likes to use those types of things, frequently, they may not have OCD. With everything that's going on in the world today, with the virus and all that, I can't say the word for it because I don't want to get this channel demonetized, of course. But with everything that's going on in the world, people have become a lot more precautious on that. So it doesn't necessarily mean they have OCD. It just means they're looking after their health. And, that's kind of where it started with me back. I think I was around the time swine flu became a thing. I was washing my hands and stuff like that, and doing the ritualistic behavior. Like I said, I would check my closet to make sure. I know this is going to sound silly, but I would make sure there wasn't a burglar or somebody hiding in there, and check behind my shower curtain, make sure it wasn't a monster or anything, And I've never really thought anything about it, as most people do with mental illness. They don't really think about it. They just kind of write it off as it is what it is. But it started affecting me in my daily life, and thankfully I have a very supportive family. They got me with a psychiatrist, and she was like, "Oh yeah, this guy's definitely got obsessive compulsive disorder." So, like I said earlier, it's always best to get checked before you just assume, "Oh yeah, I got OCD." I do this, I got OCD. No, don't assume. Just talk to somebody that's medically licensed. All that good stuff. Get your ducks in a row and make sure 100%. Before you try to self-medicate or whatever. And don't ever self-medicate. That's not a good thing. But kind of going off on a tangent, that's kind of part of OCD as well. Just focus on this one particular thing, and it's just like,
Well, I get what you're saying, and he's right. Don't ever try to self-diagnose yourself or self-diagnose. I mean, it's not safe for anybody, not including yourself.
Exactly.
It is important to know what's going on
Right.
with you. There's nothing wrong with looking at your symptoms, saying, "Hey, this could be a possibility," but don't ever
assume it.
Don't ever assume it.
Right.
Exactly.
Like he's trying to say, you look at what you're doing and try to figure out what it could be, and go to a licensed professional, medical doctor or therapist, psychiatrist, whatever, and tell them, "Hey, I'm doing this. This is, I've looked this up. Could this be it?" Just don't be like, "Oh, I got this." It says it on Google right there. I got it. Google's a wonderful thing, and that's a wonderful thing, but at times it can be very detrimental to your health, and a lot of that's misinformation that we cause to ourselves. It's just part of it. But having OCD is not fun. I can tell you that much. It took a toll for a long time. I finally got to the point in my life where I can just, kind of deal with it. I'll write it off, be like, "No, that's silly. I don't need to do that." And I'm very thankful for that. A lot of people can't do that. A lot of people are, taking showers 2 or 3 times a day. I'm lucky if I take one once a week. That's a joke, by the way, but on all seriousness.
That's what that is?
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I'm kidding.
If only you could smell it, But it's always good to have a little humor, But like I was saying, though, I'm very blessed to have a support system in my life. If you don't have a support system, reach out to him on his Facebook, or on his he does have Facebook now. Reach out to him on his Facebook or his YouTube. You can always reach me. I can give you my email. If you don't want to talk to him, ask him what my email is. I'll give it to him. I can say it real quick if y'all want me to. You want me to say it real quick, or?
Sure. Yeah.
It's O, like the letter O. So it's OTAKUBOY95 at yahoo.com. Just put mental illness or OCD, whatever, as the subject, and send it to me. Whatever questions, comments, concerns you may have, just send it to me. I'm happy to help anybody that's going through a tough time. OCD is a terrible thing. Mental illness is a terrible thing, but at the same time, just because you have it doesn't make you a terrible person. It's part of life. Everybody has something that gets to them. It's just part of it,
And you're right. I agree with that 100%. And unfortunately, there is, a major stigma around mental illness. People all automatically think that we're a bad person, or we're a murderer, or we're
a psychopath.
some kind of, yeah, exactly, a
like
psychopath,
this guy's
or
gonna kill my family
sociopath,
or something.
and and 9 times out of 10, this is not the case. And
Exactly.
More often than not, people with mental illness are the victims
Right.
of a crime than the perpetrators more times than not. And I mean, that's just the true statistics of it. And and so I want to go more into your childhood.
Okay,
So
yeah.
if you don't mind, if you're comfortable with that.
I don't care. I'm on the internet. Everybody can see this. I don't care. No, I'm just playing. Yeah, I had a really good. I honestly, I had a good childhood. I'm blessed that I had the childhood that I did. I mean, I'm not going to say it was perfect. Nobody's had the perfect experiences in life. Obviously, there's. I'm not going to name any names, but I've dealt with bullies. I've dealt with this and that. Having mental illness has caused a lot of people to look at me a certain way and to treat me a certain way. I mean, it's just the way it is. I hate it. That's what this channel's trying to change. But yeah, my childhood was great. I can point out some of the key things that went wrong in it. A lot of the stuff happens in early development. I don't really remember that much. I'm gonna be honest with you. I fell out of a tree swing when I was 7 or 8 years old. Broke my right shoulder, this one right here. Broke it straight in two. I believe it gave me a concussion, but because I really don't remember much from back then, if we're being honest with you. I think a lot of the sins from my childhood are what causes me a lot of the grief that I have now. I was kind of a bully back then. I haven't really told anybody about that. Some people, I always thought I was in the right. My parents are very supportive and very good people. I'm not blaming them at all, but I think if they would have done things a little differently, I wouldn't be quite as bad off as I am on mental wise. I mean, I'm not blaming them at all. Don't worry. Don't think that. Don't think that at all. But it's like that old saying, spare the rod, spoil the child. I was spared a lot when I shouldn't have been. I'm not saying beat your kids or anything. I'm just saying they didn't discipline me when they should have some of the times that they should have, But a key incident of my childhood, there was this guy, real nice guy. If you're watching this video, Mike, so sorry. I was in the wrong. I completely admit it. He was just trying to be friendly with me. I thought he was just trying to be a butthole. I punched him in the face, multiple times. And, I think about that a lot. And that's part of OCD. It's obsessing over this one thing that you did wrong, and you just can't get over it, and obsessing over, whatever it is, and you just can't get past that. And, I know that I've done so many bad things in my life, but I know I need to try my best to overcome that and be a better person because of it. But at the same time, I know it's hard. And, you are your own worst critic. You just are. I mean, I hate to say it, but you really are. Just because you did something wrong 10, 20 years ago doesn't make you a bad person. Yeah, you messed up. Okay, cool. And I'm preaching to the choir here. Don't think I'm not. I'm preaching to myself here, or whatever that saying is. I'm talking to myself. Okay. The thing about it is you have to realize, yes, you were in the wrong. Yes, you didn't do the right thing there, but it doesn't mean that you can't do it now. That's why I said before I even got into the story, I'm so sorry if you're watching this video. I need to reach out to you on Facebook. I'll probably wind up doing that, saying, hey man, sorry about all the crap I put you through when we was in elementary school, It's just multiple things, And a lot of times I was in the right. I will say that because a lot of people don't know this. My uncle was mentally handicapped, and a lot of people would make fun of me for that, and I beat him up. I'm not saying violence is the answer. I shouldn't have done that. I should have talked to the teacher. Should have talked to somebody, should have tried to talk it out. But, by God, I don't like people making fun of people that can't help themselves, and just stuff like that. Middle school, I got in a fight with a guy. He was just trying to play with me. I didn't think he was trying to play with me. If you're watching this video, dude, I'm Austin too. I'm Austin. I'm sorry. I messed up, man. I know I messed up your nose and stuff. If you want to come over and punch me in the face, I'll give you my address. I mean, just email me, bro, because I deserve it. I was in the wrong. But
call before you come.
Yeah, call before you come, because I don't want to shoot you. I don't, you know what I'm saying? Well, in the South now, just call before you come, bro. I understand. You punch me in the face, do whatever you got to do. Just don't kill me, But my childhood was good. Just I've messed up a lot in it, and I think about that every day. Same within high school. Sorry, Stephen Greenlee, I shouldn't have beat you up. That was my big, bro. That was my bad. I probably shouldn't have thrown your name out there, but whatever. I'm sorry, bro, if you're watching this. There's just a lot of things I've done. A lot of it has caused me my mental illness. I think, I don't know. Like I said, I'm not a doctor, but I do have a lot of grief over that. And I think a lot of it leads into me having a mental illness. A lot of things that have happened. When I was a kid, I was, it's like when you're a kid, you're like, all right, brush your teeth, do this, do that. I think that my parents were pretty strict. I think that kind of helped with it, with the OCD and all that. But I really don't know. Like I said, I'm not blaming anybody. It's something I got to deal with, though. So,
it's very interesting to hear you talk about that stuff. Because not many people will admit when they were wrong, especially in elementary school.
Yeah, I mean, I was a hell, I'm telling you.
Well, I have a lot of respect for you.
I appreciate
that.
I do.
And but when did you really start noticing that you were having issues?
My bad, bro. I completely misunderstood what you're trying to say.
You're good. You're good.
Really about middle school, preteen or teen. Oh yeah. Before we get to that, I had something I was going to say, but I don't remember what it was. So I'll probably circle back to it. I'll have another tangent on that. Really about middle school. I'm not going to say that's when a lot of people realize they have mental illness, but for me, the people I've encountered, a lot of them started around that time. Really, I started realizing, I wasn't just anal retentive about stuff. If anybody doesn't know what that means, I would say Google it, but I don't want nobody to find some kind of weird video. It's basically the psychologist. He's talking about the different habits of early childhood. So, like, it's mainly about pooping. Spoiler alert. But if you're anal retentive, it basically means when you were a kid, you held your poop a lot, basically. And he says that leads into a lot of certain things, like you have to have certain things a certain way and stuff like that. I can't remember the guy's name. Like I said, I'm not that smart, but it is what it is. If I think about it, I'll tell him to put it in the description so that way you can look it up, source it yourself or whatever. But anyways, around middle school is when I noticed that. I was thinking I was just real, anal retentive. I was like, I just like this way. That's fine. And then as I've gotten older, I've kind of, after I got diagnosed, I was like, okay, so that's what that was. You know what I'm saying?
It started making sense.
Yeah, exactly. It started making sense. And a lot of times people don't realize they have a problem until they go in and find out they have a problem. What really triggered me going to the psychologist was I got blackout mad, and please don't judge me here. I don't know if you've ever done that where you just black out, you're so mad you don't know what to do.
Oh yeah, I can say I have many times.
Yeah. It was over the smallest thing too, which is one of my problems. I'll admit it. Let things roll off, but it builds up, and it's not a good thing to do. People say you're your butthole for just telling it like it is. Well, it's better to do that, because if you let it build up, eventually that one thing's going to break the camel's back. That one straw is going to break it. So, in middle school, I noticed, I was, like things a certain way, anyways, high school freshman year, I had this teacher, Miss Taylor. If you're watching this, I'm sorry about what happened.
You got a lot of
I
apologies.
was about to say
don't
I
you?
got a lot of apologies in this video, bro, but really though, from the bottom of my heart, I do apologize. Which I know I said that, after the year after it happened, but now I'm a grown man and I completely do apologize. If you know what I'm talking about, please tell her. Anywho, so she was pregnant, and probably like 6-7 months pregnant, and basically just the story is I got mad, I flipped over a table and threw a book bag at her, and the principal didn't like that, obviously. It was a private school, so they were just like, just don't come back for the rest of the year, we'll work things out, you got to see a psychologist. And my parents were like, yeah, we probably need to do that. So went to the psychologist, and she said, what's going on? I told her, I laid it out thick. I said, that's what I do, this is how things are. And she said, well, you got a obsessive compulsive disorder, anxiety, and depression. And she said, I think both of those, anxiety and depression, are from the obsessive compulsive disorder. She was a very nice lady, but basically that was a real trigger that showed me that I had something wrong, that's, but she said that, that's what's going on. I told her, hey, I check this, do that. I'd stay up till 12 or 1 o'clock in the morning, checking stuff, because I thought there might be ghosts or whatever. As silly as it may sound, if you have obsessive compulsive disorder, you know where I'm coming from. You think, the slightest thing can make you think, and it doesn't even have to be a traumatic event that causes it. It can just be just something in your brain just don't click, and it's just like, hey, you need to check this. There might be somebody behind you right now. There might be a killer or something. You don't know. And I'm a paranoid person, anyways. I believe in ghosts and aliens and all that kind of stuff. So, I guess that leads into it. I don't really know, but it's kind of like a paranoia type thing. It really leads into it and helps fuel the OCD. But that was the biggest trigger, was the flipping the table and throwing a book bag at her and stuff like that. That was when we knew I had to get help. It's kind of one of those things with mental illness that a lot of people don't want to look at. They just want to turn a blind eye and say, well, this is just how I am. This is what he does, or this is what she does. It's really sad. It really is, because you can have something going on for so long and you can feel so helpless. You get to that point where either you hurt yourself or you hurt somebody. At that point, it's a little too late, and I highly recommend, if you feel any type of way, any time, go to a therapist. Even if you don't, go to a therapist or a psychologist or something. It's better to be safe than sorry. I know that's obsessive compulsive disorder for you. Better safe than sorry. But I mean it. I really do. From the bottom of my heart, I hope the best for each and every person watching this video. And to better yourself, I think it's best just to make sure you ain't got nothing wrong with you, So
I agree 100%. I couldn't have said it better myself. Well,
I
in
appreciate
closing, I do want to ask a couple more questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sorry.
No, you're good. You're fine.
Went in a little bit
this
deep,
is this is your time, my man. This is your
I
time.
appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it.
So, what do you want somebody to think? I guess what I'm trying to ask is, when somebody meets you for the first time, what do you hope that they take away from meeting you?
I hope they think I'm a kind person, honestly. I want to be the change that I want to see in the world. It's I know that sounds cliche and cheesy or whatever, but I just want to help the world, man. One person at a time, It's like that old saying. It's a parable. There was this lady. Parables. That's basically a story that has a meaning. Sorry about that. There was this lady. She was walking through Walmart, and you could tell she was distraught. She was, she wasn't crying, but you see that look on her face. If you can tell, you can tell. She just, didn't look good. She was on the brink, and everybody kept walking by her, and finally somebody stopped and smiled at her and said, "Hey, ma'am, how are you today?" and she just looked up, and she had this weird smile on her face, and she said, "Not too good. I hate to be honest about it, but I'm just not doing too good." And he said, "Well, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it." And she went in there to get shotgun shells so she could kill herself. And if it wasn't for that guy talking to her, she wouldn't have. She would have went home and been dead. So, moral of the story is, if you see somebody, even if you don't know what's going on, say how are you? Be friendly, be nice. Smile. It's the best thing you can do. One smile is contagious. A laugh is contagious. Be the change you want to see in the world. Just because you've got a mental illness doesn't mean that you can't change the world. I've got obsessive compulsive disorder, anxiety, depression. Probably got a whole other host of things wrong with me. I'm crazy as all get out, but at the bottom of the day.
Well, we try not to use the word crazy, but
I apologize. I'm
no,
sorry.
you're good.
I'm sorry. I meant isn't silly, not crazy. Like silly. I meant silly. That's my bad. But
he's good, folks. I love this guy. I've known this guy for
11 years, I think, 12 years, somewhere in there.
Longer than that, haven't
12, 13, no, 14 years, 14 years.
something like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
But
what
what I'm trying to say is, be a good person and try to help people.
Yeah, for sure.
That's what I want people to come get out of me, is he's a good person. He's trying to help.
Right. Well, guys, I think that's it for today. Sorry for the long video, but I really do appreciate you taking the time to watch, and I hope that you'll eventually reach out to us, and maybe I'll have the opportunity to interview you, and I'd be so happy to do so you could tell your story that you want people to know. Anyway, guys, thank y'all so much. Y'all have a great night.
Bye-bye.